Arsenal absolutely destroyed Real Madrid by 3-0, and this went beyond the scoreline because even in the game, Real Madrid did not have a sniff from the first half until the end of the game. Yes, the second half was even worse, but even in the first half, they had no chance and they never looked like they were going to cause Arsenal any danger. And in this video, we're going to specifically look at the performance of Lewis-Skelly, Thomas Partey, and Bukayo Saka, the star boy of Arsenal. So let's start with the structure of Arsenal when they had the ball. So the main thing for Arsenal was to have a back three which consisted of the two center backs, Ukivio and Saliba, and they will have Utimba joining and becoming that back three with the defenders. And then in midfield, that's where you saw Lewis-Skelly inverting from a left back position to be a double pivot alongside Thomas Partey. And then right in front of them, there will then be that freedom for Declan Rice to push up alongside Merino and basically become double 10s, which then also become false nines. Like, it was interesting. It's almost like a 4-4-2 when you look at it, but it was also very confusing for defenders because they're like, are they 10s? Are they creating chances, or are they the ones who are finishing off the chances? So it quickly became very complicated for them. And then on the right side, you'll see Martin Odegaard giving width. Like, what? We thought he was a 10. What is happening? But sometimes he would drift in field and obviously be involved everywhere with the playing of the ball. But when they were starting from the back, you'll see him much wider. Bukayo Saka, his job was to be further up the field and stretch it and make sure that he gets Alaba to the line, as close to the line as possible. And what that would then do is it would create a huge gap between him and Rudiger. Talk about that a bit later on. But for now, let's continue and look at the other thing that Arsenal were then looking to do. So in these gaps that were created by the wingers stretching the fullbacks, in this case the right back Fede Valverde being stretched by Martinelli, in that space between the center back and the right back, then you'll find either Declan Rice drifting into that space, or on the right hand side you'll find Merino. When that happened, you will ask yourself, why is Asensio not going across to Mark? Obviously because they are pinned in the middle. If they leave and they go wide, then the cross is going to come in, and Merino is very good in the air, so you can't leave him. So then they will generate these spaces, and in generating these spaces, then Rice would then try and go get the ball. In this case, it does not work out. But then you see this other thing that is very interesting about Lewis-Skelly. This boy, he gets the ball, he's under so much pressure, and you're thinking, oh, he might crack because he's playing against Madrid. No, with so much ease, between two men, he just gets the ball and then he's gone. And just by that, he has eliminated 3 people from the game, and then he passes the ball. And this chance ends up being Martinelli shooting, and then Courtois saves, and then the ball bounces back to Thomas Partey, and then it does not end up being a goal. But you can see, just from him receiving the ball in his own half, he drops to Rodrigo, and then Camavinga is left just with his mouth hanging, and then he's gone. Next up, we also see that Lewis-Skelly, when he got the ball, he was skinning Rodrigo. Rodrigo is dribbled past, and then the moment Modric steps up, he's also dribbled past by this young kid who's young enough to be his child, and then he finds Martinelli again on the through ball. It's another chance, but then it does not work out. But these things keep on happening in this game, and you have Lewis-Skelly again dropping between the, like, just behind the first line of pressure of Mbappe and Rodrigo. So now he receives the ball again. And David Raya, what I also like, David Raya trusts Lewis-Skelly. He's like, yeah, I'm going to give you the ball. And that's exactly what he does. He gets the ball, and the moment he gets the ball, he's now able to dribble and go forward. And the other thing that needs to be noted between Lewis-Skelly and Thomas Partey is the distances between them. These two things, the distance between them, allow them to play the ball and not play complicated passes, because if you play complicated passes, Madrid can win the ball, and then they have Mbappe, they have Vinicius, speed, and Rodrigo on the other side, and they can catch you on a counter. The two of them, the ball is played from Partey to Lewis-Skelly, who then gets the ball and dribbles past 3 people, and now he passes Saka. But in this case, the pass was not that accurate. But once again, it's the same story. He gets the ball, quick drop off the shoulder. He does not go through 1, 2, 3 play. No. With just one quick movement, he knows where the players are. He knows where his teammates are as well. And he can try and play them in. But as I said here, it's then not that successful. Again, he receives the ball at the edge of the box. There are two people in front of him. What does he do? He decides, you know what, I'm going to go through them. So he does go through them, and in him going through them, they mark him. But after they mark him, he still is able to win the ball back, and then the ball ends up going wide to Timber, who then crosses Merino heads, but then Courtois, with him being Courtois, he saves that ball. In the second half, we see the same thing. The defense is being stretched, and then there's that space between Fede Valverde and Asensio. And Miles Lewis-Skelly, being a smart boy that he is, he identifies that space, he plays that ball there. Then for the goal, we see this thing happening, but not just with Miles Lewis-Skelly in the beginning. The same pass that we saw in the first half between the first line of pressure by David Raya that was played in the first half to Miles Lewis-Skelly. We see the same pass, but this time around, it goes to Thomas Partey. And it does the same thing that Lewis-Skelly was doing. Drop off the shoulder, and the next thing you know, the ball is played to Merino. Merino then plays the ball wide to Declan Rice. Declan Rice again, there is this space that is created by, this time around, Leandro Trossard being wide. So Fede Valverde naturally follows him. There is that space between him and Gesu and Asensio. And that means Rice sees that space and he drives with the ball towards that area. And he ends up passing the ball to Leandro Trossard. Leandro Trossard then finds who? Miles Lewis-Skelly, who then looks around and he looks at his options and he plays the ball to Merino, who then finishes superbly. Like, he's going backwards, but he had decided that he's going to hit that ball first time. And he did, and it was 3-0 to the Arsenal. When it comes to Bukayo Saka, you can clearly see that his map, his average position, he was much further up the pitch and he was much wider than everyone else in the Arsenal team. Because his job, once again, it was to be isolated with David Alaba, who still had a bandage on his knee because he just returned from a long-term injury. But then you will see him seeming like he's fine because he's 1v1 with Saka. He can manage him. But a quick change of pace by Saka, all of a sudden he's in behind and is able to cross the ball into the box. Beyond Saka just playing the ball or trying to dribble past Alaba, he would also pass the ball to Odegaard, and then Odegaard would play the ball to him, and then he would cross the ball again. But then again, as I said, the chances were just not being taken by the Arsenal strikers. So in the second half, Arsenal thought, you know what, we are now going to switch this up. Okay, Saka, what if you drifted infield? Remember, you have the two false nines, which is Merino and Declan Rice. So they are pinning the defense back, which means the defense is now pushed back towards goal, which means in front of the D-line, just outside the 18 area, there's going to be space. So now in the second half, Saka gets the ball, he drifts inward, and then he goes to those spaces. That's how the first foul is won. They foul him around that area. Declan Rice strikes the free kick beautifully. But then again, it was a very good free kick, don't get me wrong. But I have to ask a question. Fede Valverde, he was already turning his body away from the ball before it was even struck. Don't get me wrong, the free kick was struck very nicely, but I don't think Fede Valverde made it any difficult for Declan Rice. Second goal, once again, it's the same thing. You have Bukayo Saka getting the ball from wide, and then he starts drifting infield. And then as he goes into that space that is now vacated, what happens? They foul him again. And then once again, Declan Rice gets another free kick and he takes it once again. Beautiful free kick. You saw that free kick, top bins. But then again, I have to ask, as beautiful as the free kick was, if I look at Rodrigo in this image, it looks like he could have done something about it. I don't know. It was well struck. It was well struck. But if there is a player who could have done something about it, it makes me go, why did he not do something about it then? But we're just going to leave it here and just give credit to Declan Rice because those two free kicks were well struck. Saka then limped off injured. Trossard came in for him. Arsenal fans will be hoping that this is not a serious injury to Bukayo Saka, because as much as they have a 3-0 lead, they would love to go to Madrid, score a goal, and then they can take off Saka, because then if you are 4-0 up, I know 90 minutes is a long time at Madrid, but come on. I don't think they will come back if they are 4 goals down. Crazier things have happened. Now let's talk about the defense of Arsenal. So Arsenal, when they were defending, it was simple, 4-4-2, and 2 things that were important to note. Jude Bellingham was man-marked. It was either Ben White staying with him, or sometimes it was Thomas Partey. So they made sure that the playmaker of Real Madrid did not get the ball. So that was it. And with the rest of the players, it was just about when Vinicius Jr. was about to get the ball, you can clearly see Timber just always stepped up and made sure that he did not get the ball. And this might be the reason why Vinicius Jr. only got 38 touches in the game, because they were not giving them a sniff. What did you think of the game? And if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to subscribe for more content like this.